out if you're interested in our company or another company, and so can other companies, by the way. Um, we're also going to let you know that, it takes creativity and natural talent to be able to land roles,
Roles,
especially
especially for
for
career.
opportunities.
Number 514797542. Please leave your message after the tone. After leaving a message, you can hang up or
Are we okay, guys? Yeah, no. Can you hear me? Oh, perfect. One thing you also look for when we speak to students is identifying your place in the industry. We can't stress this enough that we want you to let us know where are you interested in joining. Blizzard specifically this past year, we'll probably announce this over the next couple of days. We received almost 12,000 applications for 68 internship roles. If you don't let us know what you're interested in pursuing, we can't help you out. And all of our roles in gaming are pretty specific. We love that you want to try new things out, which is what an internship or entry-level role is, but really pinpoint what you're looking for. And this is a little more Blizzard specific, but especially when you get to larger AAA games with AAA titles, the ability to collaborate and work as a team is paramount. We have a lot of strong personalities, a lot of strong cultures on each team, so the ability to work with somebody else, work through any issues and concerns, and collaborate is key. And also demonstrating your abilities. So you've identified you want to be a game designer. Are you making games? That's the first question we ask students when they identify specific roles. If not, you have a lot of work to do. So these are some of the kind of basic fundamentals of what we look for in the student population. All right. So first, we're going to start off with game development. So that is kind of break it down into 4 major functions: game design, art and animation, engineering, which is software engineering, and production. So the first function we're going to look at is design. When you're looking at gaming companies, you'll see companies that have a focus more on design, more focus on art or engineering. Blizzard is a design-centric company where the designers really hold the key of how the game is created, how the game is run, and really drive the look and the feel of the game, with support, of course, from our artists and programmers. So their job is really to figure out the overall direction per game. So for game designers, here at Blizzard, we have very specific design roles. For instance, quest design. That's really for World of Warcraft. All those thousands of quests that you are playing in the game, that's what these guys do. Level design, systems design, story, UI, UX. All very specific functions that play a key role into the design of Blizzard. When we look for game designers, we want to make sure that our designers are really understanding of what game they're joining. For instance, if you've never played World of Warcraft, a design role on the WoW team's probably not your suit. Maybe focus on a game you're really interested in pursuing. With that in mind, they really want you to have an understanding of different types of games, whether that's an RPG, MMO, shooter games. You really want to have an understanding of different types of games and how the design elements work per game. And with a critical eye, understanding the story, understanding if it's a linear story or if it's a shooter game without a story. It's more like an Overwatch capture the flag game. And understand how to breathe new life and ideas into something that's already existing. How do we make it better than it already is without, kind of copycatting something that we've done in the past? Understanding how to use technology to build the program. We have a lot of folks that maybe have never touched Unity. That's a free editing tool. Start making games using Unity. We have a StarCraft 2 level editor if you want to get into level editing. Even more basic tools like Game Maker, super helpful. Start really getting your hands on different tools to help edit and develop the games. And also do it with a group. Like we said in the beginning, collaboration is key with a lot of these larger companies. We're less of jack of all trades, more of master of one. So having an understanding of how to collaborate and really dive deep in a specific role is going to help you. And then something that we always say is iterate, iterate, and iterate. I always joke around this about this is that at what point do we stop iteration? Never. We need to ship the game eventually. That's why we have patches that come out, but really understand how to iterate the game and how to make it better. On the right-hand side, you'll see some software tools that are really going to be beneficial to understand for design, such as scripting languages, software, and of course Adobe. Hopefully you guys have licenses through your schools that you don't have to pay for that. And then of course communication skills. The designers really hold the key to make sure that the game is created to the specifications of what we need. Next, we're going to get into art and animation. That's the look and the feel of the game. In the gaming community we have, or the gaming development community, we have 2D and 3D artists. Really 3D is where it's at. Very, very rarely do we have 2D art or concept art. I want to say at Blizzard Entertainment, specifically for the WoW team, we have almost 100 artists, and I believe we have 2 full-time concept artists. So to really understand the soup to nuts process of game art is going to be really helpful. So from the traditional art and the foundation for that is helpful all the way through texturing, painting, and 3D. For art, here at Blizzard, we are, of course, specialized again, since most of our teams are quite large. So you'll see on the right-hand side, we have teams for props, environments, dungeons, characters, tech art. Tech art is where art and technology meet. Great example of some great tech artists is on Hearthstone. Those cool effects that happen when you put down a card and hopefully crush your opponent. That's all tech art. Something with art too is that we're really focused on having fully finished assets in a portfolio. We'd rather see 5 to 10 fully finished pieces than 15 mediocre pieces. You're only as good as your worst piece in your portfolio, so make sure you put your best foot forward in that. Again, a bit Blizzard specific, but you'll see this with most companies is we want to make sure that you understand our stylized art. For instance, World of Warcraft is very stylized, very traditional art, so we want to make sure that your portfolio reflects that. It's great if you want to work on Halo or Call of Duty, but that doesn't fit World of Warcraft. So really understand what kind of art are you interested in creating and find a company from that. Obviously, if you want to tailor your art to a Blizzard-specific title or another company-specific title, we want to see pieces in that. You can still have fun on the side, but just make sure you tailor your portfolio to the game team for which you're applying. One thing to focus on too is really receiving consistent feedback. We have so many artists here at Blizzard that are interested, willing, and super excited to provide feedback and really great critique on how to perfect your art. And then of course iteration. Again, we want to see those fully finished pieces. One thing if you guys want to look at too is we are about to announce our 2017 art contest winners in a few weeks. You'll see their assets and you can see what made them winners. Something to definitely look at. You can look at previous winners for Blizzard, specifically again for World of Warcraft, but you can look and see what other artists have done. Also look at like Polygon, some other links like that. We have many Blizzard artists that are very vocal and active in the community. Next up, programming. Programming here at Blizzard is actually our bread and butter. The lion's share of interns are actually falling within the programming scope, not necessarily within game development, but within programming in general. We'll talk about non-game dev programming shortly, but I want to talk to you about game development, programming within the game dev space. Believe it or not, many of our game programmers actually don't necessarily touch the game in and of itself. They may be working on tools, they may be working on the server. So there's definitely opportunities to touch all parts of the game. But we definitely want to stress for you to be flexible here at Blizzard or any really large AAA studio that you might have your dream role, but there might be an opportunity that comes knocking that will give you so much perspective in that realm. So definitely take that into consideration. With programming, start coding. Code as much as you can. Any projects outside of classroom is key. We have a lot of alumni that are looking at resumes and they'll know if it's a classroom project or if you're going above and beyond. There are game clubs that you can join. There are game development clubs you can join. There are hackathons you can participate in, LAN parties you can participate in. We want to make sure that you can understand how to code. And not just with your own code, understand other folks' code. Here at Blizzard, I'm not at liberty to say how many lines of code are in World of Warcraft, but I can tell you it's a lot, and we've had hundreds of folks touching that code. So you want to make sure that, some people's code can be dirty or be a bit different than what you're used to. So understanding how to read and manipulate and debug other folks' work is key. Debugging code is super helpful, not only within game programming, but within other programming, web development, quality assurance, localization. Also, work on gaming projects. Work with a lot of people. I think that theme comes up pretty often here. Work with friends. Work with people that you may not know. It's really going to be helpful to understand that collaboration and problem-solving skills. With the programmers within game development, their job is to really make sure that the game design is running smoothly, the art looks right, the game is working. There's no bugs. They're kind of the backbone of the game developers. So when a game designer comes to you and says, "I need to get this done," you need to make sure to say yes, to make sure you know how to get something done and figure out the project. It's kind of your goal to make sure that the game is operating correctly. So big burden, but a really exciting one at that. Here at Blizzard, all of our game development, save Hearthstone client, is in C++. Great language to learn. We definitely recommend you beef up your C++ skills, especially if you want to jump into a game team. And production. So if you look at the design, the designers are creating the map of where they want the ship to go. The producers are just making sure we're keeping them on track. So producers are there really to manage the people aspect. So they're there to make sure that the teams have what they need, they have the support. They also are understanding that the projects are going to be completed on time. They understand how to get things done and how to get things done appropriately, efficiently, and effectively within the time scope. You guys have seen, you guys have been disappointed when games have been released too early and it's still patchy. There's still so many bugs, or people have had to push back games for so long and it loses effect. The producers are really responsible to make sure that we are living up to our expectations, that we're telling the business when we're going to be releasing a game and how good it's going to be, how much fun it's going to be, less bugs. Something for production to look at too is really understanding the style of how producers work. Each team has a different production methodology, whether that's agile or scrum or waterfall. Learn it by the book. Don't live by it, but understand the different production methodologies. And also too, if you have any kind of design or programming experience or interest, super helpful. It's really helpful to understand your audience, knowing who you're talking to, so you can help get the job done. Obviously, any kind of project management software is super helpful, and Excel. Our producers live and die by Excel, so start loving it if you don't already. All right, cool. So that's about it for game development. We're now going to get into support, and that's actually a large chunk of what we do hire for interns and full-time roles. So the first team is our cinematics team. When you think of cinematics here at Blizzard, think of all those pre-rendered trailers that you see, all the in-game cutscenes per title. That's Blizzard. So the Bastion, super emotional pre-rendered trailer. That's what the cinematics team does. They're seen as a mini film studio within Blizzard. So think of a mini Pixar or DreamWorks. That's kind of Blizzard. We have our own studio here that works on that. Most of our work is done in-house. We do outsource occasionally, but most of it is done in-house. So if you think the game teams are specific, these guys are super specific. Whether that's 3D modeling, compositor, lighter, animation, tools, production. There's so many opportunities within the cinematics team to jump in. One thing for these folks is that they are looking for super specialized talent straight from school. So if you are a senior or you're just about to or just recently graduated, this could be a great opportunity for you, because at this time you should know what modeling is. You should know what animation looks like for cinematics. Those are the types of profiles that they look for in students. Next one is Blizzard Tech. This is by far our largest development team and the team in which we hire the most here at Blizzard across the board, not just with student talent, but with professional talent as well. So I'm just looking right now real quick. So that includes our BattleNet team, our web and mobile team, our internal tools team called Corporate Applications and Service Technologies, and IT. And quality assurance, I think it's actually, quality assurance something else, but that's all of our Blizzard Tech organization. So if you are super interested in game development, maybe not quite ready to make a game or jump on a game team, or you really are interested in a game team, but you want to kind of put some eggs in different baskets, this is a great opportunity to get your feet wet into some great hardcore development opportunities. Some of the companies that our previous interns and new grads have come from would be Facebook, Google, Apple, Cisco, those high-tech industries translate super well over here. So with this, again, the iteration's always on these slides. Iteration is key. Work on projects outside of the classroom. And we do specifically take on different types of programming languages here. We're not so stuck on the C++ language as we maybe will be a little more so in the game teams. We look for anyone that has experience with Java, C++, .NET, those types of languages. Python would be super helpful for that. On the right-hand side, you can see the different types of opportunities. So we have our web and mobile team. So not only are they responsible for our websites, so all the sites you go on to, the BattleNet site, all of our game sites, BlizzCon site, they're also responsible for tools such as our BattleNet desktop application, all of our mobile apps. That's what the web and the mobile team works on. We do have client development as well. So client development is more on the back-end side, understanding how to work on our platforms. So all of our games are on different platforms, so really supporting the game from that perspective is something that we're looking for. And then program management. For those aspiring game producers out there, program management is a great opportunity to flex your production roles, however, in a project scope. Unlike producers where they're focused on the people, these program managers are focused on the project at hand. Actually, most of our PMs went to school for game production. I guess I could be a bit blunt here that we don't tend to hire producers right out of school. We usually hire them from quality assurance. But if you have the itch to join Blizzard, program management is something that it's growing exponentially, and they are looking for folks of that kind of caliber. The next one would be just more app development, like we had said. I kind of brought this up a little bit. Reliability and analytics. Some of these folks that come from Microsoft, Amazon, again, those high-tech consumer-facing companies, especially that, we buy and sell games, we have a gear store, so understanding that side of the house in terms of consumer-facing work is something that we look for as well. Again, within the BattleNet and web and mobile scope, but just something to have for food for thought of kind of what we look for in games, and really a lot of other AAA companies look for something very similar to what we look for. The next group would be quality assurance. Test all the things. So we do different types of testing, including black box testing, so actually going into the game and playing a section of the game over and over again to find bugs, to find inconsistencies. That's kind of what they look for. They also do compatibility testing, understanding how the game works on a PC, on a Mac, on a console, as we are a device agnostic company. Language testing and localization. Jokes in the United States don't necessarily transfer well over to China, which is one of our larger markets. Understanding how to localize our games and how to make sure that we are presenting it in the correct language. If I recall correctly, take this with a grain of salt. I believe World of Warcraft is produced within 19 different languages. Could be more now. So it's key to us to understand that we really support all of our players globally, as we are a global company. And then engineering, making sure that our classic games are up and running. If you are interested in still playing, Warcraft 3, we want to make sure that we're still appealing to those players. And then business operations, a little slide for such content. The reason why it's on one slide is, compared to development here at Blizzard, our BizOps teams run relatively lean, and you'll see that across the board with all major gaming companies. Really, it's focused on development, and we have a really small but mighty operations team that really helps support the game. So you can see the different areas. Some areas in which we hire students straight out of school would be business intelligence, so that would be data engineering. So they're making sure that the data scientists and the analysts have all of the work that they need on a platform. That could be public relations. If you are super interested in the gaming community and you're really in the know for Blizzard games, having a PR background, super helpful. PR and journalists, if that's like your jam, PR is a great place for you. Same thing with internal communications. They're responsible for all communications within Blizzard globally. So if we have BlizzCon coming up, who's going to be taking what shift, what's the schedule look like, or we have an event, Blizzard internal event. These are the types of things that they'll be working on. The other thing would be, of course, marketing. That's super helpful for us too, whether that's in brand management, that's in data analytics, marketing analytics, something that we look for in junior level talent. And of course, last but not least, esports. We should have made our own slide for that. With TESPA growing here at Blizzard, there's so many opportunities to get involved in the esports space, not just within TESPA, but within Blizzard esports in general. It's a growing field, not just within Blizzard, but within the gaming industry at whole. What they're going to be looking for, folks like you guys on the phone that are either officers or presidents of your chapters, they're going to want to see leadership quality kind of folks in these roles that understand the games, understand what they're working on. We'll talk more about esports Q&A. And then applications. So real quick, this is mainly focused towards Blizzard, but this is super helpful as well. So you have the basics, your resume, your cover letter, and your portfolio. So for your resume, you want to make sure you formally present yourself. This is more of your real estate. This is who you are on a piece of paper. Try to think of it on one sheet only, especially if you are either a recent grad or you're still in school. It's a really good opportunity to showcase your accomplishments versus your responsibilities. Showcase how you were able to either save money, time, or be more effective in a role, or how you sponsored or worked on this project with a bunch of folks. You were the program manager, or you were the lead artist or lead designer. Let us know about that. Should be brief, very informative, not a lot of white space, and please, no typos or errors. We hate those red squiggly lines when we get Word docs. Cover letters. So cover letters are kind of interesting. Some teams require them, some teams don't. Word to the wise, I don't know if I should say this out loud, but to be completely frank, if a position does not require a cover letter, don't waste your time writing one. We'd rather have a really succinct and really great resume than a resume with a mediocre cover letter. You're actually going to be doing yourself a disservice by having this amazing resume and a pretty poorly written cover letter. But if you want to write a cover letter, it's basically going to not regurgitate what's on your resume, but really share who you are and your passion for the company for which you're applying. That maybe isn't either appropriate for the resume or it's more focused towards the specific position for which you're applying. Show your personality, but be professional at it, and don't regurgitate the cover letter. And then your portfolio. This is really focused towards art and design. For programming, it helps too, but we don't necessarily need it for programming as much as we need it for art and design. For art, it doesn't really matter what your resume or cover letter looks like as long as you have a really strong portfolio. You want to showcase your best effort. Again, your portfolio is as bad as your worst piece, or as good as your worst piece, I would say. So make sure that's really upfront. Same thing with design. We want to see just your iteration. We want to see what you did for your, if you did a level design or a quest design. We'd like to take a look at it. Oh, and then we have a quick pro tip here. Recruiters and hiring teams know when you didn't customize your resume for us. We can tell. Please don't hide it from us. And we want to feel special. So just make sure when you are creating a resume or a cover letter, make it specific to the team and the company. I can't tell you how many times I've received a cover letter for Apple or for EA when it was supposed to be for us. So just make sure you guys really take the time to customize it for the team. Some just basics on resume do's and don'ts. I'll just go through these really quick. Okay, so don't include a lot of pieces unrelated to Blizzard. Make sure it's focused towards Blizzard or whatever team, whatever company you like to join. It doesn't have to be Blizzard, it could be any other game team you're interested in. But just make sure you select pieces that fit that particular game style. We definitely don't want a portfolio or on a blog. Make it its own separate website. A couple of years ago, I had an internal comms candidate post her portfolio in a personal blog, and then got smacked with lots of personal information that was inappropriate for me to look at as a recruiter and not relevant to the role. So just make sure you separate your personal stuff from your professional stuff. We definitely don't want long descriptions. I don't want walls of text. Clear, succinct bullets is super helpful. Also, too, I've seen also folks take full credit for a piece they've only contributed a portion to. I remember I had 4 people submit an art asset, and it was the same asset, just kind of different angles, and they all said they did the work themselves. So we see that. Just take credit for what you've done. Don't over exaggerate. We'll find out real fast. As well as make the website too complicated, especially for your UI UX guys. You should make sure that your website's not too complicated and you know what kind of work, what kind of stuff we're looking for. All right. Okay, this is more Blizzard specific. So for you folks that are about to graduate or recent grads, what you're going to be looking for is opportunities closer to graduation. It says 30 to 60 days out. I would say push it to 90 to 120 days out. Of course, do it online at jobs.blizzard.com. You can totally apply for multiple positions. Just make sure you customize your materials per position. What I mean is, if you're interested in a game design role and a production role, make sure those applications look separate and one showcases game design versus production. For internships, our 2017 internships are closed. We just finalized our intern hiring earlier this week. But don't fret, 2018 internships will go live in September through November. And the UR team, including myself, we will be on hand to answer any questions for 2018 internships next September. And that's all going to be online. And then, of course, opportunities with Blizzard. We're super open to connecting with students. Please reach out to us on LinkedIn or Twitter. We're pretty active on Twitter. And we work directly with our game teams, so we will know exactly what types of opportunities we're looking for and what types of folks we need. So please come to us with questions at that time. Same thing with new grads. Again, closer to your graduation date, definitely recommend you apply. For you guys, especially folks interested in programming, game development, if that's your area, awesome. But definitely start looking at opportunities outside of game development as well. You definitely, again, don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket, and you might learn some stuff too. And then just a cool thing just about Blizzard Entertainment, it's hard to kind of breeze through this without talking about BlizzLife. If you're on Twitter or on Instagram or even Facebook and you go ahead and search the hashtag BlizzLife. That's for Blizzard employees by Blizzard employees or by guests of Blizzard employees. You can see some of the cool stuff we've done. Medieval times. We're friends with Taco Bell, so the Taco Bell truck comes to Blizzard once in a while. Same thing with In-N-Out truck for all your folks that are in SoCal or that love In-N-Out. We have really cool service awards for Blizzard Entertainment. After 2 years, everyone gets a Stein. After 5 years, everyone gets a sword. You see the shield there, that's 10 years. And there's more to come for that. So tons of cool opportunities here at Blizzard. One more thing, too, that makes Blizzard pretty unique is that's our core values. It's something that we didn't just slap on a wall that we just pretend to live by. We really live by this. Outside of gameplay first, they're all pretty much equal. But gameplay first is our number one core value, as we're all here because we either are fans of the game, make the game, or just really appreciate what Blizzard has to offer. All right, cool. And with that, I guess we're on to the Q&A.
So I will be typing the questions out as well, so you guys can see what questions there are. But the first question that I have is, what is the most important part of our experience that graduating students should have on their portfolio when applying?
It's either previous internship experience. The most important experience to have in a resume or portfolio would be either previous internship experience or project experience. I will say that previous internship experience has a bit of a leg up. than project work, but that's also super important to us as well. We've hired folks that have had no previous internship experience but had stellar project work, whether that's either being a part of a club where they're making games, again, participating in hackathons, participating in LAN parties, taking other companies' free API and making some app out of it. Those are the things that we want to see.
And how important is a portfolio for new grad positions?
How important is a portfolio for new grads? It really depends on the role. It's very important for art and animation. You will not receive even a call if you don't have a portfolio for art. That is your calling card. That is your resume. I'd rather see a portfolio than a resume for art. For design, a little less so. It depends on the team. Some teams may want to see portfolios. They actually may send you a questionnaire just to see how well you know the game. For programming, not as much as well. If you have a GitHub account, super helpful. You should just have one anyway, just so you can share your accomplishments with your friends and family, and maybe they can help debug your work and vice versa.
This next one is a long question.
Okay.
I am a public relations and opinion market analyst student who is currently looking to get into the field of community management. It is one of the leading reasons why I founded our chapter this year. Outside of TESPA, I am involved in moderating other online communities of varying sizes. Do you have any suggestions for me on other things I can do to build up my resume for next year's intern process? What else can I do to make myself stand out from the other fantastic TESPA leaders outside of getting involved in more communities? So I think the TLDR of that question is, how do I stand out from the other TESPA leaders?
So you're actually, if you're participating in other online forums, that is so awesome for community folks. A lot of our actually community managers were seen and found moderating fan forums or moderating other websites. So if you're interested in getting into the community side of the house, you're doing everything right. Just make sure if it's for Blizzard, do it on a Blizzard IP, or if it's for another game, that's totally fine. That will. I feel like some folks don't quite understand that our community managers know who's who, and they'll see you in the crowd, and they'll see you in the work that you've done. For TESPA specifically, it depends on the role, of course. That's always the caveat I need to say. But really getting more involved at the leadership level, even being a part of this webinar, super helpful to understand. Getting more active, getting more involved out there, that's what we want to see. So participating in more TESPA events or taking a leadership role in more events is something that we're looking for. Now from the PR perspective, if you want to get into PR, taking an approach on either coming up, drafting, and presenting for informal communications is going to be helpful.
And what are you looking for in terms of a 2D, 3D artist's portfolio? What specific pieces are you looking for?
For that, this is again for Blizzard. It's actually for any company if you want to think about it. We want to see stylized art per the IP. So I should call out there like World of Warcraft and League of Legends, pretty similar art. So we look for kind of something similar. So we look for traditional art. We want to see the fully finished model as well as texturing and painting. That's something that's helpful. We want to see 4 to 5 or 5 to 6 fully finished pieces of art. One thing to look for too for 3D art is just Google WoW Art Contest winners. Again, 2017 will be posted real soon. We just have a couple more tweaks we need to get on our article before we send it out. TBD. But take a look at previous art winners. That will give you a great indication of what they're looking for.
And when will entry-level positions for new grads be posted?
Great question. New grad opportunities for 2018 will be posted in September of this year. And we'll be having those open until they're filled. So we're looking for 2018, anywhere from December 2017 grads through June 2018 grads. So apply now, even if you're not graduating in the fall, of course.
I know you touched on this question a little bit earlier, but what is the culture at Blizzard like?
It's really hard to say what the culture at Blizzard like in a short, succinct manner. Culture is super important at Blizzard. It's actually in some teams more important than the skill set you're bringing to the table. If you're not a fit in the team, you're going to have a really bad time. With internships, it's a great opportunity to explore different teams and their culture. But something that we do here at Blizzard is definitely play hard and work hard. Not necessarily in that order, maybe a little bit in that order. We definitely want to make sure that you are in the build, hopefully not breaking the build on a regular basis, but you are working on real world projects that are going to be released, whether you're working on a pet battle that's going to get in the next patch or the next expansion of World of Warcraft, or you're working on the BlizzCon website. The work you produce is going to go live. So you can really work on tangible products or projects I say that you can showcase in your resume later on down the road. But we also have a really family kind of centric culture. A lot of us are really good friends here in and outside of Blizzard. For me personally, some of my best friends I've met at Blizzard. So it definitely transfers outside of the company. Super friendly folks. Here at Blizzard, there's so many senior level people that want to give back. So there's so many opportunities to network and grow your own skill sets here at Blizzard. So hopefully for that person that answers your question. If not, ask some more culture questions.
And so this one goes back to portfolios. Someone has built their own website for their design portfolio and spent a lot of time on it, but they don't know how to attach the portfolio to your job application. Should they be submitting a hyperlink to the website, or should they be designing hard copies of the design?
Oh, great question. So easy. Link the site to your resume and your cover letter. If you have a cover letter, link it to both. Sometimes they get separated. Don't ask me why. It just happens. Our hiring managers can be little scatterbrained. But add your link to your website. Add your portfolio link, your website link. Add it to your resume or cover letter. And if you have a LinkedIn account, add it there too. That is a great example of someone that wants to get into web design or UI UX design. You're putting your money where your mouth is. You're making something. That's something that we can see and immediately take a look at and critique to see if it's a fit for Blizzard style.
And will there be any upcoming openings for the entry-level or new grad positions in the Overwatch League?
Great question. We're still trying to flesh out details of what the Overwatch League is about. It's so new for us. As you can see on our website, we're still hiring for a lot of senior level folks. Never say never, though. We'll find out in a couple of months.
Got a bunch more questions. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
And please feel free to jump in as well if you have an answer as the expert. You mentioned that portfolios are an absolute requirement for art and design, but how about sharing your process? Is sharing the process important, more important, or even less important than the portfolio?
Again, for portfolios, design, it really depends on the team, but we'd love to see the process of iteration for design. For art, a lot of that, especially for 3D art, we love to see the finished end piece. What they'll ask you is how many hours it took to create that. As much as we want to see beautiful masterpieces, time is of the essence, so we make sure that you guys are efficient in getting your job done.
And unlike art portfolios, what are you looking for in a story-centric or narrative designer portfolio?
Oh, great question. For story and narrative, we are going to want to see scripts. So whether that is a film script, short dialogue, it just depends on the role, whether it's more of a creative development script, which could be related to film, or it's more of a story in the game, on the game side of the house. So if it's a story in terms of creative development or film, it's really going to be more of a short film script. That's what we're going to look for. For story, it's going to be more narrative in the sense of less dialogue and more looking at the overall feel of the story. If that makes sense.
And does Blizzard host their own game jams or hackathons?
Does Blizzard host our own game jams and hackathons? We do actually. We have teams that do it themselves, and we'll have company-wide game jams. We're looking to develop more hackathons and game jams in our student community, but don't fret. If you're here over the summer, you're
And then, do you think it's better to showcase a creative or standard resume?
So, great question. To showcase a creative or standard resume, understand the audience that may be looking at this information. If it's a finance team, or if it's maybe a IT team, a creative resume probably won't fare well than maybe if it's a design role or a programming role. If you're unsure, what I recommend is do two things. Have that really fun, creative resume, And then also just take what you've done in that creative resume and put it in a standard format. That way, you kill two birds with one stone, and whomever's looking at it can pick what option to look at.
And what advice do you have for students that want to continue helping the collegiate scene, even when they leave college or take a year off?
So for folks that want to help in the collegiate scene and they're not in college anymore for whatever reason, continue doing it. Why would you stop? You still have those connections. Unless you're banned from that campus, why would you not go and hang out and help out? Especially younger students or folks that are new in the field will really understand and really appreciate the experience that you currently have. So why not give back and help in that respect? And that will really help you out in the future from a management and leadership role.
Next question. I'm really into esports, but have no interest in art and coding. What kind of jobs should I be looking for?
Why not esports? A lot of our esports folks aren't coders or developers. In fact, most of the interns that we hire and you guys we hire don't even touch the game. They're focused on either programming stuff outside of the game, biz ops, or esports. So continue doing your passion. Don't create yourself in a mold to fit the company. Find a role that fits what you're looking for. Again, for a lot of our operational roles, esports roles, you don't need to be a game designer or a coder. It's nice to have if you have it, but if it's not relevant to the job, don't worry about it.
Right, let's collect a few more last-minute questions. I'm seeing a few people typing away.
And also, too, we'll share with the Tesper group our Twitter handles and our LinkedIn information, so you can ask us questions offline.
All right. Do you have any advice for someone still trying to figure out what it is they want to do for a career? I have experience in engineering, marketing, and coding, and I kind of consider myself a jack of all trades who's very passionate about gaming.
Yeah, that could be definitely a tricky one of finding what you're interested in pursuing. Easy route would be join as many clubs or organizations you can that will allow you an opportunity to flex those different muscles. Hopefully you'll find your path that way. One thing that definitely hurts students is if, especially here at Blizzard, since we receive so many applications, is that they'll apply to everything under the sun. It's clearly obvious you're not interested, you don't know what you want to do, and it's kind of frustrating for us that you haven't taken the time to figure that out. But do it during the summer, do it during the school year. Start figuring out where your interest lies and start developing skill sets in that role. If you are really interested in marketing but you love coding, why can't you just make a fun app on the side and really focus on marketing and really focus on the communication side of the house, or vice versa, whatever works best for you. A lot of our employees are not just coders; they do things outside of that, but they understand where their interests and skill sets lie. They may be interested in coding, or they may be interested. For instance, this is a great example. Our WoW design department manager is a designer. But he also paints on the side because that's a passion of his. Why can't he do both? Focuses on game development or game design, but does some art on the side. So figure out where your passion lies, and also figure out what your hobbies look like. So try to separate those two.
As someone who's played games for years, being able to see my progress along the way is something that provides me with a lot of confidence in what I'm doing. Is there any advice you have for gauging your progress as you try to achieve that lifelong goal of becoming an e-sprout and starting a career? Job hunting before graduation is pretty scary.
Job hunting for graduation is pretty scary. What I recommend you do is talk to your friends, talk to folks in the community, find out what their career paths look like, and see if that's something that you might be interested in pursuing, and if you can plug that in to your career path. Something too, especially if you're not ready or quite ready to look for jobs, you may be a freshman or a sophomore. The best thing you could do is go to a career fair and just meet with the recruiters and engineers or whomever is there. Meet with the folks there and just pick their brains. They'll be more than happy to help guide you and maybe provide some direction, or at least some tips and pointers to help you find the path that you want to join.
Okay. I think there's just one last. Okay, there's now 2 questions. So, what do you suggest for tips to prepare for a phone interview?
So, for a phone interview, hopefully by that time your recruiter will tell you a little bit more about the role, who you're speaking with, and what type of interview will it be. Will it be more technical or behavioral? If your recruiter doesn't tell you that, please ask. They won't get upset. They won't get annoyed. That's their job. They may have just forgotten, or is a quick brief conversation not written down. Ask them to send it to you. One thing to prepare outside of that is look at the job description and look at your resume and make sure that the talking points are there. Outside of that, one thing I always recommend you do is when you're on the phone, stand up, walk around, and smile. People can hear the smile over the phone. Walking around just invigorates you, gives you some more energy and excitement versus just kind of slouching on the couch. Try it with a friend, and they'll be able to tell the difference themselves. I know it sounds super corny, but it's so true.
And this isn't a question, but someone just wanted to say thank you for holding this lecture.
Well, our pleasure. So at the end of this, again, we will provide our UR Twitter handles and our LinkedIn information. So please reach out with any questions. We are more than happy to help answer.
All right, thanks everyone for stopping by. If you had any last minute questions that didn't get answered, we'll send you those Twitter links over the Facebook and on our President's Council so you guys can kind of catch up. Oh, and people are just kind of saying thank you so much in private chat.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Rachel?
Thanks for using WebEx.